Hey guys, this is Chauncey from Session Stories, and today I'm joined by Jesse Will, a New Zealand artist whose music carries a quiet intensity, mixing vivid storytelling with emotional honesty. His new singles, Puddles and Hold My Skin, explore themes of connection, vulnerability, and letting go, and we're so excited to have him on the show today, so welcome. Yeah, so I actually discovered you from one of your more recent songs, Hold My Skin. This song definitely feels like an emotional unraveling kind of surrender maybe to being truly seen. So just curious, like what was the emotional genesis of Hold My Skin? Was there a particular relationship or a moment that sparked the lyrics?
Deep frustration with being unable to sort of be entirely vulnerable with somebody would be the main sort of core of that song. And it took me a long time to realize that that was what it was about. Generally, when you talk about like the genesis of things, the genesis for me is like scribbling a whole lot of words down and then trying to figure out what it is that I'm trying to say to myself. I guess like an exercise in journaling as much as it is in songwriting. And then you sort of move parts around and try to figure out how to tell the story so that someone else can place themselves on it and interpret it in their own way and with their own experiences. I think that when I wrote that particular piece, I find that the name really hard to say. I've noticed some people as well, like the words Hold My Skin, they're really provocative, but very difficult to just say the name of that song, at least for me. It's quite a confronting sentence. I think that there was a realization for me that I deeply wanted to feel something for somebody.
Yeah.
But there were a lot of blocks for me in my, whether that's like in my spirit or in myself, to allowing myself or giving myself permission to surrender to love or, a form of closeness with somebody.
And I definitely think there's different interpretations someone can take away from listening to Hold My Skin, but if someone was listening to it for the first time, what like feeling or message do you hope stays with them?
Something transformative. A lot of the journey of that song is told instrumentally. There's a sort of a door opening at the end of it, which I'm really proud of when I listen to it, in terms of there's, not that I listened to it because I had to listen to it thousands of times.
Yeah.
As you know, talking to musicians, right? But yeah, there's sort of a release, sense of clarity that comes with that piece, that it starts quite restrained as well. A lot of the interviews I did for that piece were talking about how it's almost spoken, which I hadn't really considered until people started saying it, like you're not really singing, you're kind of speaking. I did originally, when I wrote it, sing it a lot, like it was a much more ballad-esque.
Yeah.
And up in the chorus, in like the Adele kind of way, like straight up. But I went down instead. The storytelling felt right, that there's the tension and point is in the verses and the settling point is in the choruses, which I reckon definitely lost me some listeners, but it felt more true to the character of that song.
Yeah. Now you've also recently released, well, actually very recently, it's Puddles. There's like lyrics about cold water rushing in and warm water. So what does water symbolize in your writing? Like,
there's no deeper meaning. It's just literally.
Oh, okay. Okay.
It's about puddles. So rebirth, I guess. I sort of categorize the feeling and the visual of each of the songs, and for Puddles, it feels more about rebirth and more of a cleanse. There's a lot in that song about allowing yourself to change and to grow from perhaps the puddle that you've been. I don't know, that sort of state of stagnation where perhaps your life is that visually. And allowing yourself to sort of grow from that and transform in whatever way and by whatever means necessary. It's a song of acceptance as well, although it's not specifically about relationships. There's definitely that woven into it, sort of accepting that sort of old-fashioned mentality that things are meant to last. Isn't necessarily the truth. And that things can be beautiful in how temporary they are and in how impermanent they are. So that's sort of where my head was at. The initial visual was literally two puddles and and the surface of them rippling, which in my head sort of just suggested change. It suggested that something was brewing, and the whole thing sort of grew from that. And I'm a sucker for a metaphor, so like Puddles, evaporation, water cycle. How does that apply to us? We're basically water as well.
There's definitely a poetic stillness to your work, even in movement. I feel like there's reflection. So who are some of your lyrical or maybe even like artist influences that have shaped like your songwriting lens?
That shifts a lot, right? Recently, I've loved Andrew Bird, Lyrical, after watching the TV series. I don't know if you watched that, about his life. But I've always appreciated him. But I think now that I'm in my 30s and I read his work, it's a lot more applicable for me, having lived for 10 years as an artist as well. Earlier on, a lot of Damien Rice, Jeff Buckley, Tim Buckley. I love the lyricists and I love the sort of world builders and, artists where there might just be a single line that just sums it all up for you, or sums up the song.
Yeah.
And then obviously just like vocal powerhouses, because I play piano and I play a bit of guitar as well, but my emphasis is always on the vocal delivery and embodying whatever it is that I like, whatever it is lyrically that I'm trying to say. So I love like Aretha Franklin and again like the storytellers.
Yeah. When you're writing lyrics, do you think imagery, emotion, or storytelling, and what tends to lead the way? But I think you mentioned earlier that imagery plays a big part when you're writing the lyrics, right? And then I'm sure probably the others follow.
Yeah, so it'll be a visual first. So that might be, as I say, rippling of water, or with Hold My Skin, there's a lot of hands action and a numbness. So like a numb subject and hands grabbing that subject, which we eventually turned into a video. But the visual comes first, and once I have the visual and sort of some understanding of what it means, everything happens really fast after that. And that's the same for a visual in terms of the lyrics. So if there's a particular lyrical line that like sums up the song, and I get that clarity of like, that's what the song's about. For Puddles, it was a perfect puddle doesn't grieve what it lost, and I knew what I wanted to say with that, and it sort of just took off from there. So sometimes it'll be the central, like the middle part of the song. You might get one line and you kind of build around that. It might be the opening lines as well. For me, the biggest struggle is the start part. It's the sketching to kind of find the light at the end of the tunnel, and then once you got that light, you can follow it. And it's from that, it's just sort of putting parts together and moving and finding ways to make sure that like verse 2 and verse 1 aren't too similar. Keeping the listener entertained.
Yeah. How do you know when a song is like complete? Do you have a hard time? Because I know some artists also have a hard time.
There's songs I've released, I'm like, that's not complete.
Okay.
But you gotta draw a line in the sand eventually. I listen to Hold My Skin. I'm like, oh, I could have put some ad libs at the end, like more. I could have done more. But generally, it's like if the story's told enough. It's like if the point's there and you show it to somebody and they have some sort of understanding of what it might be about, or they feel something from it. I have trusted other musicians and friends that I show stuff to, and they'll tell me if it still needs work, Yeah.
Yeah.
In terms of being finished, that's tough. It's tough to say, but I definitely value the storytelling above everything else. So if the story's told and it feels complete, then I know I'm close. It's just like the instrumentation and everything around it.
Yeah. And is there a song you've written that you feel the most connected to when you're performing live?
Yeah, there is. It's called Full for Gold, and I haven't actually recorded it yet. There's a live version. And going back to the thing of like perfectionism, I've held off from actually doing a studio recording because I can't decide whether it wants to be on piano or on guitar. It's as simple as that. So I'm just trying to figure out how to record it. But I love that one because it's not about a person, it's about a time of day. But yeah, Full for Gold is probably the one. In saying that, I haven't actually performed Puddles yet,
Yeah.
live for on camera, and Hold My Skin very little, like maybe once or twice.
Yeah.
Getting back into playing live is something that is like TBC, because I'm sort of trying to make my bed at the moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And are there any artists you turn to when you need like a creative recharge or emotional grounding?
Stevie Nicks,
Oh, yes.
Fleetwood Mac. For me, it's like watching them perform. It's got to be live, like live performances, specific live performances that I'll watch, and I'll be like, that's why I'm doing this, because there's just truth in it.
Yeah.
And it's real, and it's present, it's in the moment. Stevie Nicks with Fleetwood Mac, like the chemistry between her and Lindsey Buckingham on stage. There's certain videos by them that I deliberately don't watch because I don't want to like lessen the impact of the performances.
Yeah.
Michael Jackson live, big influence when I was younger. I often go for the ones that sort of took a while to get there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so in interviews, they're a little bit more grounded and there's less posturing. It's just like, open about their process. I really like listening to Sting. I probably listen to him speak more than I listen to his music, but like he's really open about his songwriting process and the struggles of that, and always searching. And yeah, there's a few people there for you.
Yeah. I think The Chain is one of my go-to songs when I need a recharge. Absolutely.
Oh yeah.
Love that. I'm obsessed with. I love Fleetwood Mac, but The Chain like really does something to me whenever I hear it playing.
I was dating someone once who had it as their alarm clock.
Oh, okay.
And they're like, you can't stay over if you're going to use that alarm.
That made me hate this song. Oh, amazing.
Strangely though, I didn't get sick of it. I was like, all right. I mean, there's worse things to wake up to, right?
Yeah. So what's next on the agenda for you for this year? Do you have new music you're releasing? Maybe like an album or an EP? Do you have any upcoming shows?
I'm massively juggling right now. So we're just finalizing the edit for the Puddles video, which
Cool.
directly follows the narrative of the first of Hold My Skin. So it's straight through, same dancers, same choreographer. We're doing that, and then tomorrow I'm off to record 2 more singles up in Hull with James Kenosha, same producer, and I'm aiming to release those over the summer. So 2 more singles over the summer. The deeper I get, the more I'm like, this just needs to be an album. I might as well just put an album out. I spent some time studying, and I write faster now, and I've got a bit of content. So I'm thinking I'll collate it and put it together and just take the plunge, put out a full release. And so it's all TBC because it's just also like funding dependent and timing dependent. But hopefully at the end of the year, put a whole album out.
Cool.
Yeah.
And maybe traveling next year for shows or touring next year for shows?
Yeah. I mean, maybe, hopefully this year for shows. That's sort of the last step for me to take on my, return to the industry, my comeback. I hate that phrase, but yeah, just getting my live act back together and getting a band together and performing again. There's some countries that I've never played in that I really like to visit.
Yeah.
Germany, I have played in, but I'd love to do a proper tour around Europe. And so yeah, that's largely next year, but aiming to do some more shows this year or the end of this year. Yeah.
Very cool. Yeah, I think those were the main questions I had for you, but I always like to ask, like, are there any final words that you would like to leave the listeners and your fans with?
No. Me and my brother, we have this phrase that we use, which is when you go through a phase where you might not be that present, which is enjoy your burrito.
Enjoy your burrito.
Enjoy your burrito. Like, enjoy what's in your hands right now. It might not be
okay,
best, but like, be present with it and enjoy it. So I'll give you that.
Perfect.
But no, it was probably better, arguably.
Well, thank you so much. We really appreciate it.
No worries.